Carol. I had my guy Doug Baldwin. We had some Christmas carols for you guys to brighten up your holiday season. But you know what? I'll just take questions. Obviously I'm doing it with a heavy heart.
What Christmas carol would you have sung?
We were gonna go with Silent Night. I wasn't too far out of my range, but everything's pretty much out of my range. So, but Doug could handle it, so he's gonna carry us.
That would be Marshawn's Christmas carol.
I see what you did there. It's the holiday season. Everybody needs to laugh, right?
Richard, what challenge does the Rams offense pose you at this stage?
Well, they got a good running game. Zach Stacy's always been running it. Trey Mason's been doing a good job. So you always got to be aware of that. They have some unique runs to their team and what they like to do. And Kenny Britt's having a great season. And they have some threats in the passing game, so you always have to be aware. And obviously, special teams, they've gotten us many times, so we're always got to be aware in the special teams games. They like to run tricks and things like that, so we have to always be aware.
Talked about that and that recognition, and that you have to go back pretty deep to figure out all the different plays they've run. How far back, how many years do you guys look at kind of those trick plays?
Well, I really don't know how deep the special teams coaches go, but they seem to be pretty adept at finding them. But with them, you never know what you're going to get, honestly. You can look as far back as the 1940s, and they'll come up with something new that you've never seen before, and so you just got to be aware, and you got to be on it. Everybody has to be locked in and ready for anything that comes, because you could be looking for a whole lot of things and they go with something totally different than what you were expecting.
Does it tick you off this week to see the game film of St. Louis and how that went?
Not really. That's just part of the process. It's part of the season. Part of the. We still had a chance in that game to win it at the end, and obviously we weren't able to get it done. But we don't look forward. We don't really look back and dwell on games. And let it fill us with any kind of rage or anything. We'll treat this game as its own game and attack it.
From the personnel being different, how much different does this team just feel now than when you guys went to St. Louis?
Not much different, honestly. Pretty much the same team, just healthier guys playing good football, confident guys, really prepared for everything. Our offense is playing outstanding football right now. Marshawn Lynch is playing MVP caliber football. I remember the last time a running back got it, I think he had 2,000 yards and broke close to a record, but he also had 14 touchdowns, and Marshawn has 16 touchdowns. So, MVP race, but it seems like it's a quarterback's race now. So, it doesn't matter if he ran for 1 million yards and 1 million touchdowns.
Hypothetically, if you had been on the field during Marshawn Lynch's 79-yard touchdown run, would you have tried to tackle him?
I would have given a very valiant effort, and me and Marshawn have these discussions daily about whether I'm able to tackle him or not. But I guarantee you, in that situation, if I didn't get him down, I would have got him out of bounds. And, nigga hit that. It was an inch from out of bounds. All you had to do is push him. He got the best balance ever, but, maybe, full speed, 200 pounds of what I got would have got him that inch out of bounds.
So you're saying you would have tackled him?
So I'm saying there's a chance.
You guys are the number of interceptions that you have at this point compared to last year, you're down 17. Can you make up that gap this week?
You know, it's a great question. We're going to shoot for it, you know. We're going to shoot for the moon and hopefully land on the star. 17 interceptions in one game hasn't been done before, but you know what? It's first time for everything. Yeah, you know, we're playing good defense in a lot of areas. I think our total yardage is down from what it was a year ago. Our pass yardage, you know, somewhere close to what it was a year ago. I think our rush game is very close to what it was a year ago. So, you know, I'm not sure how many times the team has led the NFL in 3 yardage categories, but we're going to do our best to get in that company. And it all comes from just playing good defense, sound defense, and guys taking pride in what they do. Everybody has to tackle in the run game. That's a big part of the defense. You know, you don't hold people to 39 yards rushing without everybody tackling. And everybody has to be in coverage in the pass game. You know, linebackers have to be where they're supposed to be. You know, corners and safety have to be where they're supposed to be. Sometimes D linemen have to be where they're supposed to be. So everything's a total team effort, and that's what it's going to take to win these next games.
Are you a better defense than last year?
I think we're different. I don't think better. You know, it's going to be hard to say you're better than the defense that won a Super Bowl. You know, number one in just about every category you can be number one in. So, you know, just different. You know, I think at the end of the day, you could ask me that question after the season. I'll probably have a better answer for you. But right now, it'd be hard to compare.
You talked a lot after the game about kind of recognition and how important that is. Is that something that's gotten better the longer you guys have played together and all of that? Or?
As a collective group, it has. It has. I think early on there were certain individuals that would recognize plays, and then other guys would be playing pretty much purely off instinct and talent. And as we've grown, you know, as we've had our growing pains and gone through big games, small games, you know, whatever the case may be, we've started to learn as a group and recognize plays. And I think you saw that was indicative in the Arizona game. There was a play they ran, we called it big post, where I want to say it was Larry at the point in a bunch. And the 3 receiver bunch was into the boundary, which is the short side of the field. And they had 1 wide receiver to the field, which can be one of 2 things. It could be a bingo pass slant to the front side, or it can be a big wheel that's unique to Arizona. And they'll wheel, act like Larry's running a shallow route and then wheel him up the field at the tail end of the shallow route. So we recognized that formation, recognized the play, and Earl pointed it out. Bobby guarded it. It was an incomplete pass, and it doesn't seem like a lot. But when you understand the game and you're running routes for people, you're calling out plays, it just is good defense.
Not making it won't happen. What would make you upset tonight after the Pro Bowl?
If we only have 5 players named again, it's kind of frustrating because you sometimes feel like your teammates are getting punished for being on a good team. Your linebackers are getting punished for not having a D-line that allows them to make 130, 140 tackles. Your D-line's being punished because you don't have a team everybody's not going to get 10 sacks, or one guy's not going to get 14, 15 sacks. You know, that's difficult to get on a team like this. You know, you just feel for guys. In the secondary, you know, I think we get the acclaim. You know, a lot of times people just Legion of Boom, and they respect our games, and I think it's well deserved. A lot of people say it's well deserved, but I think the rest of our defense, recognition would be well deserved. I think Mike Bennett should be in the Pro Bowl this year. I think Bobby Wagner should be in the Pro Bowl. KJ Wright should be in the Pro Bowl. And a number of members of our secondary, obviously Marshawn and Russell, but unfortunately, I'm not sure it's going to go like that.
Every game is a championship game, but do you consider the huge difference in implications of a win or a loss this weekend? A win gets you a bye, a home field advantage in the playoffs. A loss, and you could potentially have to go on the road for 3 games in the playoffs.
Doesn't really make any difference to us. I think you could have said the same implications last week, and it didn't make any difference to us. We take it one game at a time. Every game is a championship game. Our mentality is no different from this game as it was the first game of the season against Green Bay, or it's going to be next week, or the week after that when we have a game. I think our mentality, that's one of our stabilizing forces, is our mentality being ever the same. It's always a championship mentality, and I think that's kind of what gets teams. I remember last week hearing about Arizona. This is the biggest game of the year or the franchise. The coach, making a big hubbub about it. Didn't work out very well for him. Because you don't treat games different. You don't get up for games and then get down for next game. I'd be interested to see how they play this week, because what does that mean? Does that mean you got hype for us and you're not going to give this team respect, or does that mean you got hype for us and you're going to get hype again? It's a good question. That's why I like Pete's approach. Every week's the championship week, because it doesn't allow you to have those peaks and valleys.
What's the backstory of you as punt blocker, and did you think you were going to get there someday?
Man, I thought I was going to get there. Yes. Well, it was just a block we had run the previous Arizona game, and somehow the refs blew the play dead as I was 2 feet from the punter, and they blew the play dead and said they weren't ready for play. The ball wasn't ready for play, so we weren't able to run it. Obviously they were ready the next time we ran it, so we thought we'd hold it until the next time we played them, and it just was the perfect situation. The ball was on the right hash, and I was already out there for gunner control most of the time, so it didn't look suspicious that I would be coming in for a punt block, so it worked out well. Unfortunately, he pushed me a little bit. In college, I blocked a couple, but I hadn't blocked one in the NFL before. But I thought if Duck could do it, I could do it.
If you did get there, would you take a foot to the face like Deshaun?
I would happily take a foot to the face for a blocked punt. I would. Yes. Well, not the big lip. I'd probably try to avoid the big lip, but to the face mask,
As a defensive player, would it be meaningful to you to see J.J. Watt win MVP award?
It would be. It would be very meaningful to see a defensive player win the MVP, because it'd be a recognition of overall game and overall impact. But I'd also like to see Marshawn Lynch win the MVP. Would mean something to me too.
Did you know that this is where the defense was going to end up this year? There was a few games in there where the numbers didn't look like the numbers you guys have put up in the last 4 or 5 games. That the national talk was what the defense is suffering from last year. But did you always know this is where the defense would be?
I think we did. That's how we talked, and we were unwavering in our confidence that we would be where we were supposed to be. And I don't think at any point we really dropped out of the top 10 statistically, which is kind of funny, because for us to be as bad as people said we were, and I don't think we've given up a 300-yard passer yet. I don't think we've You know, there's a lot of things we hadn't done, but I guess that's the standard we've held ourselves to, and we've established. So we expect to be where we are now. We expect to play well. The personnel we have, the guys we have in our room, a bunch of Pro Bowl and All Pro caliber players who will hopefully be recognized today. But unfortunately, they probably won't, because there'll be a bunch of teams who won't be in the playoffs with a bunch of people in the Pro Bowl like there are every year.
What'd you think of Michael Bennett calling you guys the best defense to ever play football or something like that?
It might be. You know, it's cool for him to say it. You know, obviously we'd love to be in that discussion, but I wouldn't say it. There's been some great defenses to play out there. You know, I think we'd be in a discussion to be one of the best defenses, especially this year and, you know, last year, and what we've done on a consistent basis year in and year out. But, you know, might be said some things that.
Is it even an argument you can make? Because, I mean, all blunt, in 78 used to be able to take guys' heads off, and they changed the rules. You can't touch them beyond 5 yards.
Exactly. I think that's perfection. I appreciate that. I think that's the big difference. You know, I think you have to rate defenses in their own time periods, because the rules today, I don't know if those defenses back then would be as good, because, you know, they were killing quarterbacks, and, you know, they probably get ejected out of games for half the stuff they were doing back then, you know, but those were the rules back then that they played by, and they played the game at a high level. But like you said, the game has changed. The rules, you know, 5 yards down the field, they're making it a passing league. I'm sure they're breaking all kind of records in passing yards as a league, you know, breaking the league record and average points a game. You know, this is what the game's coming down to. The league wants it to be an offensive game, and the numbers are saying that. That's why quarterbacks are throwing for a record number of passing yards and passing touchdowns, and not having as many interceptions, because it's so difficult to have tight coverage and be on every route and have great defense, because you have great defense and it's a penalty on the play for roughing the passer when you got a sack. You know, you can get a roughing the passer penalty called on a sack. And so it's so hard for guys to tread that line, because you're going all out, but you have to kind of tempo yourself a little bit because of the rules, you know.
This defense be under the 70s rules of touching. You can hit them anywhere in the football.
I'd love to see us back then. I'd love to see us have a chance. You know, I have no idea how we play. We may be terrible back then. You know, they may rough us up and run us out the building, but I'd love to see us have a chance back then with the rules the way they are. No illegal touching, no defensive holding. No roughing the passer, you know. Oh man, it'd be. I don't know if Cam Chancellor would that be fair for a lot of people. I think he stays in a dark place, and I don't know if enough people bring the flashlight to get him out.
Plans for Christmas Day?
Just a big dinner and handing out presents. We had a fun event yesterday for my foundation, and we're able to start a couple people's Christmas early for some very deserving families, but mine is going to be more relaxed.
Practicing against him, has Doug Baldwin ever made you fall down in the last?
He has not, because I've always been ready for that stunning move that he put on for Marty. That move we've seen many a time, and although I've been on the tilt of falling, I've never fell. I would rather just walk away from the play than fall.
I got it on tape.
No, you don't. No, you don't. That tape does not exist.
Fans of Russell Wilson, how would you do it? Seems like other people are having trouble.
I'd put 13 men on the field. That's a great question. He's a dynamic player. I think we'd have to study him from that aspect. We've done it during camp and studied it, but nothing's like game day. You know, he's a different player on game day, and he's an unbelievable athlete, an unbelievable playmaker. So a lot of the stuff he does, you can't coach. You can coach a guy to be in position, be right here. He's going to be right here. You can tell him he's going to be right here. But in the moment, he does some things that you can't coach. The coach isn't gonna go tell a guy, "Hey, you should have done this in that spot." He's gonna tell him, "Well, got to do better next time." You know, there's nothing you can coach. You can't coach a guy to tackle a guy that's so elusive and so slippery, and you can't tell a D-line that he's going to go through this gap or this gap because he doesn't have those kind of tendencies. He's not just booting around to the right side and always going to the right. He's not going up the middle every time. He's not always going left. So he's a very tough player to game plan for.
Can you describe what it was like on the sidelines during Marshawn's 79-yard touchdown run as you watched it either on video or live?
Shock and awe. And then expecting him to keep going, and then more shock and awe. And then anticipation of what he was going to do at the end. And then joy. How he entered the end zone. There's a certain flair to the way he enters an end zone.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.